favourite lunch. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, hello there. I'm Mr. Perkins. I'm one of the drivers on Sir Topham Hatt's railway. I'm on my break, so I've come to Mr. Edward's signal box to eat my lunch. Oh, I've got fish and chips. And they're still hot. Oh, a bit too hot, actually. Think I better leave them to cool down. That reminds me of a story. Do you remember when Thomas had fish and chips? Or rather, he didn't. His driver did. Here we are. Thomas goes fishing. Thomas's branch line had a station by a river. As he rumbled over the bridge, he would see people fishing. Thomas thought it would be lovely to stop by the river. Every time he met another engine, he would say, "I want to fish." They all answered, "Engines don't go fishing." One day, Thomas stopped to take on water at a station by a river. His driver turned the tap, but it was out of order and no water came. "Never mind," said his driver, "we'll get some water from the river." They found a bucket and some rope and went to the bridge. The bucket was old and had 5 holes, so they had to fill it, pull it up and empty it into Thomas's tank as quickly as they could. That's good, puffed Thomas as he started along the valley. But then he began to feel a pain in his boiler and steam hissed from his safety valve. His fireman opened the tap in his feed pipe to let more water into his boiler, but none came. "Oh dear," groaned Thomas, I'm going to burst. They damped down his fire and struggled on. Just outside the last station, they ran Thomas onto a siding right out of the way, and his driver wrote notices in large letters. "Danger, keep away." Soon the inspector and Sir Topham Hatt arrived. The inspector climbed up to look into the tanks. "Excuse me, sir," he said to Sir Topham Hatt. "Please look in the tank and tell me what you see." "Goodness gracious me," said Sir Topham Hatt. "How did the fish get in there?" Thomas's driver told them about the bucket. Sir Topham Hatt laughed. "Well, Thomas, so you and your driver have been fishing. The fish don't suit you, and we must get them out." So the driver and the fireman fetched rods and nets and took turns at fishing in Thomas's tank. Then they all had a lovely picnic supper of fish and chips beside the line. "That was good," said Sir Topham Hatt, "but you mustn't do it again." "I won't," said Thomas sadly. "Engines don't go fishing. It's too uncomfortable." Poor Thomas. But at least they had a lovely picnic supper of fish and chips. Like me. Lovely. Hello again. We get a lot of letters on Sir Topham Hatt's Railway. People write in asking questions about the railway or to say hello to the engines, or sometimes because they have something to complain about. This letter is from a Mrs. Parsnip. She's a bit cross because her train was delayed due to works on the line. So Sir Topham Hatt has asked me to write to her to explain. I'm going to send her this postcard of the bridges of Sodo. That ought to cheer her up a bit. Dear Mrs. Parsnip, I'm sorry that your train was delayed due to the bridge work being carried out on the branch line. This just goes to show how important those bridges are. There are many bridges on the island of Sodo. Stone bridges, metal bridges, and even bridges made of wood. Some bridges are for trains to go over, some bridges are for trains to go under. And they're all there to help engines and other vehicles get where they want to go as quickly as possible. Without the suspension bridge, engines would have to wind slowly all the way down one side of the valley and up the other side again. That would take much longer. Without the Bickerstown Rolling Bridge, there would be no quick way to travel back and forth to the mainland. Passengers would have to wait to catch the ferry instead. Without the road and rail bridges, engines and road vehicles would have to stop and wait at level crossings all the time. So you can see how important the bridges are. But it is also important to keep the railway safe. So sometimes maintenance work must be done both on the rails and on the bridges. And unfortunately, that can mean that journeys will take longer. But it only goes to remind us how really useful bridges are. Yours sincerely, Mr. Perkins. Right. Better get this in the post quickly. I'll put it in the post box as soon as I get back to Knapford. See you again soon. Goodbye.